But it's a different thing to So, this is how the formula should calculate. Hard times plus easy time plus staying faithful to God should equal the exact good outcome we were counting on. If you are a human who has been doing the adult thing for more than 24 hours, you've probably come to the same stunning revelation as I have. We cannot control our outcomes. But what if the victory is only in part of how things turn out? What if a bigger part of being victorious is how well we live today, this hour, this minute? And yesterday our speaker referenced Lisa Turker's book. It's not supposed to be that this way. That's a quote from her book. Hi. My name is Carolyn Hearn. I was born January 17, 1958, and there is no prize for guessing how old I am. Oh wait, but you don't need all that information. I'm here to tell you my journey through some of the significant storms in my life that threatened to steal my joy. I had a pretty typical childhood, at least typical of my generation of the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. I had a mom, I had a dad, and when they passed, they'd been married for 55 years. I have a sister, and at one point we had a dog and a station wagon, but not at the same time. We had a few VW Beetles, and my sister and I got to sit in what we called the backpack. No seat belts, no nothing. We lived. And I think our crib slats were even too far apart by today's standards. We survived that. I've been married to Reg for nearly 36 years. We have 2 kids. I have 2 stepdaughters also, so I like to say I have 2 of my womb and 2 of my heart. My kids grew up in what I viewed as a normal childhood, much as I did. I was home for most of their school lives and just worked part-time when I did work. Our lives got shaken up when our daughter Emily got pregnant in her first year of college. You might not think that was a big deal, but it was a big deal for us. Here we are, we're leaders in our church, we have an unmarried daughter, pregnant. I understood grace at the time, but I never really put it in action. Now it's time to do that. When Emily told me she thought she was pregnant, my first instinct was to walk out of the room. But fortunately, I listened to the Lord. I mean, it was like that. And we just took her in my arms and we cried. And by the way, I'm giving you the Reader's Digest version because there was so much more to that day. Shock gave way to excitement that I get to be a grandma. There was a little bit of guilt in getting excited, but that went away pretty fast. Fast forward to 2006, September 2nd, and our granddaughter Tilly Ann was born. Her father was in Iraq at the time, and he got home 2 weeks later on leave. And a week later, he and Emily got married. A week after that, Anthony headed back to Iraq to finish his deployment. And Tilly and Emily settled in with us, and they stayed with us until Anthony got home. They then went to 29 Palms in California to finish out his service. Storm number 1 in my previously pretty nice life. In 2008, my parents died, Dad in May and my mom in July. The time leading up to that and their deaths was really time-consuming and it was hard, but we survived the storm. And at that time, my joy really started to get tested, and almost like a loss of joy. I retired. I started to live off of adrenaline. I don't know if any of you have been in that situation, but when you go from one thing to another, and you live in that way, it's really hard. It's hard on your body, but it's physically hard too. I retired from my job, I put that in quotations, because it really ended up being an extended leave of absence, and I went back after 9 months. And it was just a time for me to, I had all these projects lined up, but it was a time to retire. August 3rd, 2009, Revis Allen Meyer was born, and it was a reprieve. And he's such a blessing. He's such a sweet little boy. September 3rd, 2010, the day after Tilly's 4th birthday, Tilly was taken by ambulance from Shelton to Mary Bridge with suspected cancer. leukemia. She looked horrible, and her lab results were awful. She was admitted to the pediatric ICU. Lots of testing. She didn't like anything. I just share a little story at Mason General when they were trying to put in the IV. It took 4 people to hold her down. And I'm so thankful for living in a small community because we knew some of those people. We had someone holding on to Emily. And at least one of the 4 people holding Tilly down was my Bowles. You know, we knew people. So they did a blood transfusion at Mary Bridge. The next day she looked like her Tilly. She was so pale. Her ears were translucent, her nails were translucent. It was just really scary. But she was a sick little girl. We didn't know she was going to make it through the night. Her official diagnosis came the next day, which was acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or what they call ALL. And believe it or not, this is the good leukemia. There are several different types of leukemia. This is the good one, and it has a 95% cure rate. The treatment protocol was 2¼ years, and in that time, there were many hospitalizations, weekly treatments, sleeping medicines, and all other sorts of fun. Tilly's initial hospitalization lasted 5 weeks, which is about 3 weeks longer than the standard. She ended up with an infection in her back. Her total back was just bright red. And they had to do 2 surgeries in a 24-hour period to get it out, and it had gotten into her bones too. So during the course of her treatment, I was Emily's main support. We were all living off of our adrenaline at that point. And something I have learned about adrenaline is it is also a joy stealer. But I have to say, in our journey with leukemia, is that we did see bits of joy in the journey. We met fabulous people at Mary Bridge, Tilly and family, and with Reg and me tagging along. Got to go on a Make-A-Wish trip to Disney World. And as of today, Tilly has been cancer-free for 6 years and 4 months. Her last treatment was January 10th, 2013. Fast forward to February 27th, 2015. We get a frantic call from Emily that CPS has taken her kids away. The man that my granddaughter should have been able to trust with her very life violated that trust, big time. And again, this is the condensed version. But Reg and I got the kids a few days later, and Emily was separated from them for about a month and a half. The emotions, anger, fear, sadness. Did I say anger? When Tilly was diagnosed with leukemia, I remember saying, this happens to other people. We're other people now. When life exploded in 2015, I said a relapse of cancer would have been easier because it was familiar. Nothing in our lives could have ever prepared us for what happened and for what would happen as we walked through that storm. I can't even tell you, it was just 9 months of hell. But as I think about these storms, we were prepared. We have a faith in a living God. It's our foundation. In the book that I referenced in the beginning, the author talks about how the start of Genesis, we're in perfection in the Garden of Eden. And at the end of Revelation, we return to that perfection. We return to Eden. Revelation 21, 3-5 says, I heard a loud shout from the throne saying, look, God's home is now among his people. He will live with them, and they will be his people. God himself will be with them. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. And there will be no more death or sorrow and crying or pain. All these things are gone forever. And the one sitting on the throne said, look, I am making everything new. And then he said to me, write this down, for what I tell you is trustworthy and true. Yes. I was reading another verse, and I wish I'd written it down, but it ended with, what I tell you is trustworthy and true. So right now, this leaves us living between the 2 gardens. Our Garden of Gethsemane, if you will. We need to wrestle well between our Father and our feelings. And that's a direct quote from the book, too. I will admit to being someone who falls apart first, and then I go to what I know. go to the well. On Easter, Pastor Dennis at Rivers read from Luke 24:6-8. The women had returned to the tomb to tend to Jesus' body and were puzzled as the stone was rolled away and the tomb was empty. And the men, which we believe are angels, they were guarding the tomb, and they said, verse 6, "He isn't here. He is risen from the dead. Remember what he told you back in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be betrayed into the hands of sinful men and be crucified, and that he would rise again on the third day." Then they remembered that he had said this, and that's the verse that stood out to me. I was puzzled, terrified, worried, fearful. And then I remembered what he said, who he is, and what he has done.
Right.
Forgiveness is a big part of navigating through the storm. In the past, forgiveness was something we just did. It was easy, right? For those small, inconsequential things. Yeah, I forgive you, Emily, for yelling at me. You know. Till you didn't clean your room, okay, I forgive you.
Not just my room.
Well, but when faced with forgiveness for a heinous crime, I thought it was good. I forgave my ex-son-in-law right away. But one thing I learned is that forgiveness can have many layers. Little by little, layers were revealed. And I had to deal with forgiveness for whatever layer was exposed. And the first layer was to forgive him for what he did to Tilly. But a year later, another layer, that when I first realized about layers, I had to forgive him for what he did to my daughter. He was unfaithful. He caused great stress, PTSD. Another layer was for my grandson, Ravis. He was traumatized by being taken away from his mom for 4 years ago. And he has struggled since. He's had behavior issues that we believe to be trauma-induced. He's on medication now. We've had a lot of people praying for him, and he's doing really well. And it's nice to see, that we're going this way. There's more. There were more layers, and to be honest, I can't tell you which ones came up when. But I got to digress just a little bit. My idea of layers was that of an onion. And literally from that first time, I was in my sister's kitchen in Ketchikan, Alaska, when that first layer was exposed. And so Tilly just recently was in Shrek the Musical, the high school musical. And Shrek is an ogre. And ogres are supposed to be scary.
No.
And they have many layers, like an onion. And it's so cool. Well, Donkey didn't like the idea of an onion.
You like parfait.
And he thought about it for a second, and he said, "Parfait! Parfaits have layers."
Yeah.
So choose your layers. But back to the subject again. I think it was sometime last year I had a session with the Lord. I was sitting on my bed. It was a Monday morning. I don't work on Mondays. And I just started praying. And I started praying. I still pray for my son-in-law. It's hard sometimes, but I know it's the right thing. But I just asked God for revelation. What's left? And I dealt with it. And it was for my benefit. I didn't want to become angry and bitter. Do I still get angry at what he did? You bet I do. And I go back. I don't think that doesn't negate the forgiveness, but it just means I have to go and just talk to God and just say, yeah, it's done. It's done. Another concept I read was that if we let the enemy isolate us, he can influence us. And his open door is through our disappointments. In Mary Beth Chapman's book, Choosing to See, A Journey of Struggle and Hope, she says, "We need to understand down to the depths of our souls that whether he is quietly behind a storm cloud or blazing obviously in the bright blue sky right in our faces, Jesus, the Son, is always, not sometimes, present, no matter what the circumstance. During the times of storm, I often function out of habit. Even with my relationship with the Lord, I said earlier I tend to fall apart, and fall apart I do that well. But in those times, doing what I know, even if for better or lack of word, it's a habit, I come back to the place that I know, and that's God. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's like a muscle memory. Just come back. When I fall apart and crying out, why God, why God, why? For me, my place of calm, is worship music. Whether I'm listening to it, I would put it on, or I start playing. Sometimes I put on music in front of me, or sometimes I just start playing the piano with some chord progressions that I have. And that really helps me to regain my footing. It brings peace. I also kind of go back and forth and I have to keep going that well. But it's there. It's there for us to go. A friend of mine wrote this as she was dying from her fourth bout of cancer. My hope is not in circumstances, good or bad. It is not having all my needs and desires met in my way. It is not found in power or status or any skills or talents I may have. It is not found in any job or ministry I partake in. My hope is found in God, who has the past, present, and future in his hands. When I stay in God's presence, I receive consistent hope both for each day and for the future. And with that hope, that certainty, comes joy, peace, and rest, even in the midst of cancer and even when death stares me in the face. Where are we now? 4 years later. We are a multi-generational family living under one roof. Mostly we coexist pretty well. Other times, not so much. There have been many years of therapy for Emily and the kids. I've had a few sessions too, Reg came once too. And we are dealing with something so foreign. Nothing in our past could have ever prepared us for this, except for that foundation in God. As I gave my brief biography in the beginning, I grew up kind of peaches and cream. Emily recently asked Tilly how she did it, because Tilly goes through life tearful. How she coped, how she seemed so happy. And paraphrased, Tilly said it is a choice she makes daily. And I've learned too that joy is a choice. You can choose joy when you don't choose joy. But joy is a choice, and it's a choice that I choose. I want to leave you with some scripture that's been helpful for me. And the first one is Habakkuk 3:17 and 18. And this is one that's come up several times. I've been working on this thing 6 to 10 years because just that loss of joy and trying to regain it. I read a lot, I write notes, and I have notes in my phone, I have notes in my iPad, I have a notebook. And so this Habakkuk 3:17 is in one of my notes in my phone, and I don't remember why I put it there or anything. And then it was in a message I heard a few weeks ago, and then it was in a fictional book. I mean, it's everywhere. And so it says, even though the fig trees have no blossoms, and there are no grapes on the vines, even though the olive crop fails, and the fields lie empty and barren, even though the flocks die in the fields, and the cattle barns are empty, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation. Romans 15:13 says, I pray God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. And finally, Romans 5:1-5. And I came upon this scripture during the last trimester of my first pregnancy 35 years ago. And it was at a time where my pregnancy in the last trimester was difficult. But this says, therefore, having been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we also have access by faith into this grace in which we stand. And we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. And not only that, but we also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance character, and character hope. Verse 5 says, now hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out in our hearts by the Holy Spirit who has given us this. Father God, we come before you with the storms in our lives. Whether we are in the midst of them right now or they're storms of the past, be with us as we walk through them, Lord. Show us how to forgive, and show us the layers, Lord. Expose them. Expose the layers that need to be shown to us, Lord, in forgiving. Help us, Lord, to wrestle well and keep our eyes on you. We pray this, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.